And welcome to How We Got Here Genealogy. I'm Brian Nash, and let me make sure my mic's live here. Great. How's everybody doing today out there? So while we're getting started, if you want to just drop where you're coming from and any questions you might have into the chat, that would be great. And yeah, just give me a second while I get everything loaded. So today I'm going to be talking about Nova Scotia, specifically Nova Scotia genealogy. But if you have any other questions about anything else, feel free to ask. Now I'm just just in the process of actually finishing up recording my next video to hopefully be released on Saturday if I get it edited in time tomorrow. And it is following up on the last week's video on using fan charts. It's the next step in creating your genealogy plan and using a genealogy planner, so to speak, to help you gather your information. So if you have any questions about this or anything else, definitely do just drop it in. In the meantime, if you want to just say hello and tell me where you're from, that'd be great. While I'm waiting for people to join the chat, I can tell you a little bit about some of the work, and some of this information will be in my video. When I'm doing genealogy, I like to have I have a little resource guide, and if you saw last week with my my binders that I have for the different lines, I put the information I have in at the front of that. Have a number of different things. One of the things that I have is this for different areas where I'm looking, I kind of keep at my fingertips some of the information that I might have to regularly look at. And each one's a little different. And I do suggest people do this. You can customize it how you want. One thing that's not on here, just because I really don't need it, is any sources you have for maps. You can. I just use Google Maps, but there are sometimes places that are specific place names. One of the resources I actually have to add here is in Halifax, Nova Scotia. They renumbered all the streets in the traditional downtown area. So there's a guide that I use that if I'm looking for something will tell me the new street number. And I've found that useful from time to time. So I'm just going to share with you here what okay. Let me see here. So I'm going to share with you this screen up here. This is where I'm working on things. So you should see there. Let me just share like this. And so now I'm down in the corner. This is my Nova Scotia resource. It's probably one of the ones I have worked out the most because I do a lot of research in that area. And I have kind of broken down. I keep the archives, but this is something that I keep that's important because it's just handy to have to know the dates of when things are available. I have some other resources. These are books that I've gotten from Open Library, but I've also found them in other sources that I can read. And actually, I have one particularly that's Highland. it's actually in here. This History of Inverness County is a really good one. I have a lot of relatives on my grandmother's side. That's where they originally settled. So it's very useful reading. Has a lot of information about the early settlers. So I have that there, and I actually have a version that is all text as opposed to just a PDF scan of the older book. So it's nice that I can do a little searching in that a little better. Yeah, so it's just some things, some resources that I use. Again, this part here is really important. Sort of know what is available for different areas. So, for instance, if I'm looking for somebody's birth registration, I'm not going to look if they were born before 1864. I'm not going to waste my time looking at the registrations of births at the Nova Scotia Archives online site. I will go to their site now. I will probably just search through church records and hopefully find some type of baptismal or birth record there. Let me see here. So again, like I said, just drop a line if you're in the chat there, and hopefully I'll see it and I'll answer it and let you know what's going on. But I'm just gonna, while I'm doing this, I'm gonna just go through some of my own work that I'm doing, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. So this is actually one thing for every region on Family Search. They have really good resource pages for what collections they have, because often a lot of the things that actually are in Nova Scotia Archives that I might have to go search in person. I'll check Family Search first, because they might have copies of the microfiche that I'll just wind up searching myself. So it will save me a trip. Issue is a lot of that is not indexed. But it is sorted by groups, and not always the easiest though to make out what you need. Okay. So I'm working on my my grandmother, my maternal grandmother's grandparents, and actually I'm going to show you something here this is it's a little preview of what's coming up in the video. This here is really kind of on their guide. I was able to search on the archives and find some information of what I'm looking for. Thing to know is that in Canada, we have our Presbyterian churches, or people that were Scottish that were not Catholic or Church of England. Chances are they're Presbyterian. They might be Methodist, but in my case, I know they are Presbyterian from records. And I can find what records they have available. So this is specifically a church I'm looking for is Amalgawatch. That's the one that my family's from. So I was looking for some information from them, and then some more broader ones as well. What I found that really helpful is actually this book here. It's called, again, you get this open library. You can get this from Electric Scotland, which I have. So I managed to download the PDF so I can keep it, but it's actually just history of the churches in Cape Breton that are Presbyterian. Won't give me details of people, but it does let me know what churches existed when in specific communities. So it's a helpful resource for that. So if I know where my ancestors lived, I can specifically look in here and see at that time whether they had a separate church, what church they would have been going to. So let's go back to here. So I'm seeing that there's 3 reels that are of interest to me, because I'm looking for the Malagawach area, which also includes West Bay, Inverness counties. You notice there's a few different dates, and that's confirmed by the history of the Presbyterian churches in Cape Breton. It will actually tell me. It told me about the different points when that had its own churches, or a full-time minister, or when it was part of a larger church congregation of multiple churches or a charge. Okay. So this information, like I said, is available on Microfiche, but it's also available at the on the family search. So if I actually go to their family search and I open that scraping, I save my stuff in Google Docs so I can quickly open it. So if I go to Nova Scotia, here's a list of records. Now, it's not as nice as the breakdown for all the records that they have here. It doesn't tell me which microfiche I'm looking for. But if I go back to it, I can search for a specific place. So if I go to Malagawach, let's see what it comes up with. Now it wants me to log in because it does this every so often. You have to log back into the family search. So gives me a bunch of different information here. Again, I'm interested in records. I'm not interested in genealogies. And what I'm specifically looking for is a marriage record. I'm hoping I might get a better copy of a marriage record that I have on here. So I'm going to go, if you just go to the archive site, Genealogy, you can look up the names. The person I'm looking for is John McKinnon. Now, with this particular name, McKinnon, I've found it in different records at different times, spelled with MAC or MC. A lot of it has to do with who is recording the information and what their custom and what they would be used to. It is not mean, some people think that's one's Irish, one's Scottish, one's Catholic, one's Protestant. It does not necessarily mean that. So I'm going to look up John McKinnon, and I'm looking for marriages. He was married to Charlotte. The one I'm specifically looking for was married to Charlotte Campbell, and they were married in 1867. So I don't see them here. And the area in Inverness, I could narrow it down specifically smaller than that, but I'm going to look at, and it's going to have him actually under MC, I bet you. So if I look at marriages, so when I go down here, there we go. John McKinnon and Charlotte Campbell, they were married in Big Harbor, Inverness County on the 29th of October, and I can actually view the marriage record. And this is something that's gotten me a little frustrated. This is a book of registrations for Inverness County. So this is, I'm looking at, it's book 1825. I'm looking at page 18, and I'm looking for number 14. So if I go across here, and I'm going to find the information there, which is great. I found John McKinnon, Charlotte Campbell, he was a bachelor, which is really good information to know. He was born in at the time, he was 43 when he got married. So this bachelor is actually very helpful to know, because that tells me that he was not married previously. So I have to look for another family with a previous wife and possibly previous children. Tells me that he was a farmer. And this first line is where he was living at the time. If you scroll to the top, the residence at the time of marriage and were born. So I'm going to go back down to him. So he's right there. He is saying that he was living in Malagawach, and he was born in Malagawach. Now, this is where I have a big problem with it. Specifically, what is troublesome is I'm trying to find out his parents. His parents should be on this line here. If I scroll there, this will be parents and their rank or profession. Rank would be more if they were part of the military, or even a ship's captain might have a captain there. So the problem I am having here is it is telling me that his parents and her parents are the same. And they're not. First of all, last names are different. Now, this could mean a number of things. This could just be a transcription error. And it could also be maybe he was taken in by her parents. He was orphaned and he lived with them, and possibly. But that's not the case, actually. Now I'm looking here. So I'm looking here, right above is Sarah Fraser. So if I look at her parents, they say Lachlan and Catherine McKinnon. His name is John Lachlan McKinnon. I'm thinking his parents are actually there that line before. Again, it's an assumption. So I really want to confirm that. Since this was 1867, there's not really on the Canada census. I looked for there was an 1861 census, and that doesn't actually give a lot of detail. The 1861 census will just tell you the head of the household and how many people, specifically how many male, how many females, how many children were living there. It does not give names. So it's not very useful in that for confirming that he's living, who his parents are, that he's living, which is something I often do if I'm looking for people. So I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to search the records on Family Search, and I'm going to see what records I have. Now, so if I go to the Family Search, so we're looking at place name. It's Malagawach, and I'm going to look for first name is John, and I'm going to look for McKinnon. And the interesting thing is I know his wife's name, so I can put down the Charlotte. And I'm going to search for there to see if I can find any records. So there we go. I have John McKinnon, the marriage, 1867. And do I have a marriage record? So I have one here, 1868. I have one here. It's in Canada Marriages. It says October 1866. What I'm really looking for, there we go. One with a picture. Now this is John McKinnon, and it says Lachlan McNunn and Catherine McNunn. So this is what it's saying is his parents, but it's saying Charlotte Campbell, but it looks like there's an image. Now I'm wondering if this is the same image of that I got from the Nova Scotia site. So let's look. Okay. So this looks like a different record, very similar. So I have the 29th of October, 1867. I have Big Harbor and by license, and I have John McKinnon, 43, bachelor, and Charlotte Campbell, 22, spinster. So if I look over there, when I was looking at them, that's the same thing. So it's not quite the same record, but it's very close. Tells me he's a farmer. Residence at place of marriage was Malagawach, and where he was born is Malagawach. Now, and it does have his parents' name, and then it has her parents' names. So this is very helpful. It says his father was a farmer, and her parents were farmers as well. I come from a line of farmers on that side. So this is confirming what was there. So we have, again, if we look, we have Catherine McKinnon, which is a family name, and Lachlan, which is a family middle name. Of the Johns, this John, who got married, his son, and his grandson, who would be my grandmother's brother, who's still alive. So there I have the information I'm looking for. Not that hard. Again, just knowing some of that, what the information and where it is, it really makes life easy. So this I'll be able to fill in to my information, and I like to get full images. I usually download and I print these type of things. Now I'm really curious. This has no page number or anything. This does look like it is the same book from there. So I'm just curious. This was page 18. I'm really curious if page 19 has that page redone or something. So it's not. Oh, that's still page 18. Oh, there we go. Yeah, still that. So I would actually to look at the next page. I do have this document already saved. It's this one here that I'm really interested in because it gives me the information I was looking for. So I'm just going to save that image, and I'm going to save it to a spot where I already have it saved there. And I have that there. Yeah. So I saved the information, so I have it available, and I'm going to print it out as well. So just give me 1 second. When I choose, once I save it, I can actually open the file I save and I'll print it out, and I'll add that to my database. my database of information on that family. So there's one information solved. Again, I know this is spelled wrong. It should have a U, at least that's the way it is in the rest of the family. And this should be an I. I've also seen it in some records, just L, and there should be a U there. So it's Lauchlin is the way the family name is. So I'm assuming that's the way it should be spelled for him. There definitely is a U in here. And the rest of it's not quite as easy to read. So unfortunately, I can't necessarily go by here, but I'm going to go Lauchlin when I add this record. So I'm going to go to my wiki tree, and I'm going to add him in right now. So if I go to myself, this is the easiest way. I go to my mom if I don't actually have the names of the people I'm looking for, but I just go to my tree apps, and I use the fan chart that I have. And I just take this out to generations that I'm looking for. So I'm looking for this John L. Lachlan McKinnon, and I found his father. But at this point, I have no other information about him. I don't know his birth, don't know where he was born, the year he was born, if he was alive at the time of this marriage. So there's still some things to be done. And I also have, again, Catherine McKinnon. And I have it spelled MAC because that is the way my family that is still alive currently spells it. So I have Catherine as well. Again, no birth date or location. So that will be something for me to look for. I'm going to search for Lachlan. And if I search from the 1861 census, it's not going to give me a lot of information. This is going to tell me how many people were in the family at that time and living off of. That may or may not be helpful, but it will give me an idea of how many other brothers and sisters of John's I may be looking for that I do not have recorded. So that's just a piece of information that I'll kind of save for later if I do find him, because it is helpful. The other thing that is interesting, if I have the name of the minister here, and he's actually one of the people mentioned in that book on the Presbyterian churches in Cape Breton and the history of it. Now, on this one, it does not say by license of whom. On this one here, when it gave the information, it did say by license of the Presbyterian Church. Again, I know they were Presbyterians, but this, again, confirms it. What I was going to say, though, when we were looking at the information that was back here, when I was looking for the actual records, you notice I have this Presbyterian the United Church of Canada was formed, I think it was in 1927. It was a amalgamation of the Presbyterian Church of Canada. Not all the Presbyterian churches of Canada joined it. It was also had Methodists and a few other groups joined as well. The Methodists and the Presbyterians were kind of the bigger two, and Presbyterian churches did stay. The Presbyterian Church itself, which in Canada was founded in 1879, is an amalgamation of a whole bunch of Presbyterian churches that have Scottish origins, most of them Church of Scotland or Free Church of Scotland. I actually currently go to a Free Church of Scotland that still exists, that actually had been a Church of Scotland until 1953, and because they did not join the Presbyterian Church of Canada at any point. And did not then go to the United Church. And in 1953, they were looking for another church to associate with just the church in Scotland. Sort of lost interest in them, but that's sort of the history of the church. So it's really interesting to know, and it's one of those things as a genealogist you have to sort of start finding out some of this information, because it will help you know where to search for records. Okay, so that's what I have for tonight. So I'm going to head off in a second, and so you're back to looking at me. So if a lot of discussion, there's a few people dropping in and out of today's chat. Again, I do have these regularly. Come and drop by, have questions. I usually have at the end of every just open round, but seeing as there wasn't many questions in general, I'm gonna give it sort of one last chance. I sort of do what I do what I call my last call, and we'll do that right now.
Last call! Ladies and gentlemen, at this time I need to announce it's last call at the bar. Oh.
So, since I do call these how we got here genealogy happy hours, that's why the theme of the last call. So there's no questions there further. I just want to thank those people who did drop by today, and people who are watching this on the replay. Like I said, you can leave a question if you have in the comments, if you're watching it on the replay. And until next time, keep searching for your ancestors.